And when we finished, I told her, that better be ketchup. What's up, YouTube? It's Big Ryan, the fat guy. 4-0 last week, 3-1 this week. Ironically, the Pats ruined our perfect postseason. Either way, this postseason, we are 7-1 against the spread. That's going to guarantee us a record above 500. The Eagles' defense stood tall against Matt Ryan and the Falcons. The Titans were shell-shocked by the New England Patriots. Thanks for coming out. Back-to-back postseason victories for the Jags. Keep that train rolling. Case Keenum, Stephon Diggs, and the Minnesota Vikings were handed a miracle by the New Orleans Saints.
Greatest finish to a playoff game in NFL history.
It was crazy.
Definitely. Now hold on, you said ironically that we lost against the Patriots. I'd hardly call it ironic, I'd call it standard. We get the Patriots wrong almost every week. Let's hope that we right the ship this week. And how about a little bit more optimism? You sound like Jeff Fisher. Oh, we're going to finish around 500. Well, 500 isn't good enough for Big Ryan, the fat guy. And we're shooting for the stars, and we're going to go for it. And let's see if we can't bump off 3 games in a row. This shaming we do at the start of this show has seemed to deter a lot of YouTube commenters because there's a lot more positivity and a lot less negativity out there. And I'm going to roll with that. Thank you for liking and subscribing and making this channel as fun as we are doing it.
I'm going to need a beach towel for all these gypsy tears. Stop sucking these guys' dicks. Just a bunch of guys listening to us talk about football, giving them winning picks. What do you want? And a big shout out to TC2882. Guy went 4-0 this week, straight up picking games. Pretty good.
Perfect. LA Bully, he made a bold prediction. He was right. We were wrong. But he was gracious in victory, and we can respect that. Roll Dangerous, same picks as us. Down with that comment. Shepherd, I can't even say YBNVS Shepherd. Another really nice comment from her. And also DK, who's just rolling in the dough from Big Ryan, the fat guy. However, though, there's always one detractor.
Are you talking about Slim Deuce?
I am talking about Slim Deuce. Jags ain't doing shit.
Ooh.
How about hanging 45 on the road, pal?
Woo.
45-42. Jags ain't doing shit. You ain't doing shit. You a pile of shit. Don't mess with the Big Ryan the Fat Guy crew because you will lose. You will lose if it comes to betting football and eating hot dogs.
Makes you think. Enough all this jibber jabber. On to the 2017 Conference Championship picks against the spread. In the AFC, Blake Bortles and the Jags travel to New England to take on Tom Brady and the Patriots. The Patriots are 9.5-point favorites. As always, the Pats have the public on their side, currently at 64%. Fat guy, do you think the Jags can cover the 9.5-point spread?
Well, I'm going to sound like an obese parakeet here.
Does that mean fat?
And I'm going to say that number again is just too high. Are they favorites against the Jaguars in this game? Most certainly. But the public just keeps inflating this price. You know, it's like buying a scratch and win ticket, and when they win, they go, oh, see, I told you so. Well, eventually, there has to be some regression to the mean. And I seem to put in money every week trying to find that regression. So we're going to do it again, and we're going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars. I really think that they're only a 6-point underdog rather than a 9.5. So there's 3.5 points of meat on the bone. It flies over 3 key numbers, 6, 7, and 9. So for that reason, I like the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now, can that Jacksonville defense dominate the New England Patriots offense?
In theory, it should be. But the Jacksonville defense, I feel like they let up and they don't step on people's throats. I mean, Pittsburgh, they looked actually not that great on offense, but they had a couple excellent big plays from their big playability players, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. I don't think the Patriots have that type of big playability aside from Robert Gronkowski. He's going to have a tough matchup against Telvin Smith. So I really do like the Jaguars here. I want to see if they can get pressure, though, consistently. In the first quarter, no problem. Let's see what kind of screens the New England Patriots are going to be running to try and stop this front at the beginning. If the Jacksonville offense isn't able to sustain drives, it's going to tire out that defense, and that defense can come apart. So this is the second time. They got 42 hung on them by Pittsburgh, despite winning, and they got 44 hung on them on the road in San Francisco at the end of the year. They were impenetrable up until those points, and now they look, I don't know, almost vulnerable at the end of the game. That being said, I still like Jacksonville.
Moving on, let's talk about Bill Belichick and the plan that he's going to have on defense to stop that offense. And number one for him is going to be stopping the run and stopping Leonard Fournette, because that's the easiest way for the Jags to control the clock and ultimately win that game. Can Blake Bortles get it done with that receiver group against those corners of New England?
Well, I think New England's actually strongest at the cornerback position. I'm not a big fan of their defense. They have Malcolm Butler, Super Bowl hero Malcolm Butler, as well as Stephon Gilmore. Is it Steven or Stephon? Professional athletes, i.e. Steph Curry, they never seem to get the Steve and Stephon thing. Stephen King figured it out. So Stephon Gilmore's the other corner, and it should be a little bit difficult for Blake Bortles to move the ball. That being said, all the receivers on Jacksonville seem to be big play receivers. I don't mind D.D. Westbrook. Keelan Cole seems to bust a big play every game. Marquise Lee. I mean, they're not great by any stretch of the imagination, but they can move the ball, especially after the catch. So they should be able to get it done in that facet, in some capacity. Blake Bortles has also been using his feet to extend drives, which I'm usually not a big fan of, but that's what they got to do. That's what they got to do to win, and I like it so far, and I think that'll be a little bit of an X factor coming into this game. Now, you mentioned about stopping the run against Leonard Fournette. That's definitely what the goal of New England Patriots is to do. However, though, they've traded away or they've lost most of their linebacking core from that championship defense just removed a year ago. They don't have Hightower. They don't have Jamie Collins. Not that Jamie Collins was on the Super Bowl winning team, but he was leading up in the season. He was traded to the Browns. Nice one. So I don't think they're going to be able to track him down at that second level. The D-line might be a wash with Jacksonville's O-line, but if Fournette gets to that second level, he can be really bruising and really punishing, and the clock will just continue to run. And if the clock runs, I'll take the points. Jacksonville Jaguars.
I want to highlight one more matchup that could be vital to this game, and that's Rob Gronkowski. There's not one player in the league that can stop him, but Jacksonville might have the closest thing to trying.
Telvin Smith. Big play Telvin Smith is just trouble to work against. He's given up very few yards to, any of the tight ends this year. Gronkowski, of course, is the biggest test. He's incredibly difficult to deal with. But Telvin Smith, if he can limit Gronkowski even a little bit, that's going to stagnate this Patriots offense.
All right, that's a good look at the AFC. Now let's look at who's representing the NFC. Case Keenum and the Vikings travel to the city of brotherly love to take on Nick Foles and the Eagles. The Vikings are 3.5-point road favorites. To start off the week, it's pretty even, with 47% on the Eagles at home. Fat Guy, do you think the Vikings can cover the 3.5-point spread on the road?
Well, I'm going to sound a little bit hypocritical here, but my gut's pulling me one way. And when you have a gut this big, you have to go with it. We're going to take the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Like I said, Minnesota is my Super Bowl pick, but let's keep it happy for both of us. Minnesota by 3. Minnesota advances, Eagles cover, double down on a win.
Now the two most important things I want to highlight, because this is looking like it's going to be a defensive battle. The over-under for this game is 38, which is quite low. At right tackle for the Vikings, Rashad Hill.
I don't even know him, so that'll give you a good example of how green this player is.
Rashad Hill is green. Brandon Graham is gold. How is Rashad Hill and the Vikings going to game plan to stop Brandon Graham?
That's an excellent question because I don't really have a great answer. They're going to have to use a lot of their backfield, their tight ends, a group of blocking tight ends that are kind of capable in Minnesota. Wondering if they're going to start using a fullback a little bit more just to chip off. I feel like Jerick McKinnon's going to get a lot of the work because he's just better in the passing game. He's better at pass blocking despite being a little bit of a smaller back than Latavius Murray, or at least comparable in size. So I'm going to look for Minnesota to do that because if they can't stop pressure like any team, they're in big trouble. Sam Bradford's going to be back up this game, and Teddy Bridgewater is going to be an inactive, it looks like. So maybe we'll see an appearance from him if Case Keenum gets unloaded on by Brandon Graham. But that'll definitely be a matchup to look out for, because that's where the Vikings are most weak, and the Philadelphia Eagles may be most strong, other than Fletcher Cox in the middle.
I'm going to flip the script now. Left tackle Jason Peters for the Eagles. All-pro left tackle Jason Peters.
All-world Jason Peters. Fantastic career. He was an undrafted free agent tight end in Buffalo, and now he's one of the most dominant tackles. Well, he was one of the most dominant tackles in the NFL during the modern era.
He's been replaced with a guy that I have no chance in pronouncing his name, but his last name's Vaitai. And he's going to have to go up against Hunter and Everson Griffin. That's going to be a really tough matchup for him as well.
Come on, Big Rye. You need to brush up on your Polynesian culture. Talapuli Vati Vaitai. Not that difficult. Let's be real here. I have more trouble with his brothers' names, Kevin and William. Little bit difficult on the tongue, but I'm getting over it.
Now, one place where this Minnesota Vikings defense can be taken advantage of is at the cornerback position with Trey Waynes, Terrence Newman, and Mackenzie Alexander. That opens up opportunities for guys like Torrey Smith, Nelson Aguilar, and Matt Collins.
You also don't have a grasp on Nigerian culture. It's Aguilar. Again, Aguilar. That being said, you're definitely right with that point. Those skill position players definitely outweigh the depth of Minnesota's secondary. Torrey Smith and Aguilar have been pleasant surprises this year. I wasn't sure how well either of them were going to do, but they have both been pretty decent, and they do have a chance to get loose. That being said, Minnesota still has Xavier Rhodes, maybe the best corner in the league. The road's closed, so there is a nice section of the field that is going to get shut down. He shut down Julio Jones, kept it close with DeAndre Hopkins. The guy is just a monster. I kind of like that Minnesota only has to focus on one part of the field. Leave Rhodes on his own island and he'll be just fine.
So lightning round, AFC, Jags at Patriots.
Jag-Rags.
That's at plus 9.5. And for the NFC, Vikings at Eagles.
Gonna shake my head. Gonna go with the gut. Philadelphia Eagles.
And that's Eagles plus 3.5 at home. Bronies, that's it for us. Good luck with your conference championship picks. Subscribe for weekly NFL betting insight. I had to stop kissing the mirror with the lights on because I was breathing too hard.